All right, welcome. Who is ready to see some blood? Good evening. Welcome to the Stream of Blood. This is a tabletop role-playing game channel where we play all kinds of actual plays of various games. Tonight, we are playing Blades in the Dark, the incredible game by John Harper and Evil Hat, where we follow crews of desperate thugs and criminals as they try to loot a fantasy city and get a piece of the action, get a piece of the city to get enough coin to make it through one more desperate night in a haunted steampunk dystopia. My name is Jared Logan. I'm the game master here. I am joined by my secret game master, Clinton Trucks. Clint, say hi really quickly.
It's me, Clint.
Okay, that's good. And we are so happy to bring you tonight's installment of The Tin Whistles. Here on our Blood and Glass series where we play Blades in the Dark, we are creating an interconnected universe of games. So we have two other crews in this sort of game universe that are also pulling heists, pulling schemes, night to night, trying to strive for a little more coin. Tonight, one of those crews will go up against their arch enemy. They will go up against some people who have been gunning for them for a while. I'm very excited to see how it all falls out when the chips fall. But right now, let's bring in our amazing players. This stream is near and dear to my heart. The players of this stream are so incredible and have taught me so many things about role playing. And also, I was actually a skeptic of this game until I started playing it for this stream, and I realized, holy shit, this is probably the best written role playing game in the last, I'm going to say, 20 years. And also, it's the best laid out book. It's the most beautiful. It's a great game. And so it's thanks to this very series that I learned all those things. So I'm just going to say thanks to my players. Let's bring in our first one. This guy is a Stream of Blood mainstay. I'm talking so fast, it seems like I just did a line before we started. But trust me, I promise you that's not true. I've just been hanging out with a 2-year-old all day, and I got 2-year-old vibes right now. I got a lot of energy, a lot of aggression. Okay, this first guy, he is a Stream of Blood mainstay. He's one of our favorite people to play with. He's been with this crew since the very beginning. He plays the beautiful but very dangerous, pretty Marko Coyle. Please welcome our resident scholar of the esoteric, Mr. Ross Bryant.
Hello, Jared. Oh man.
Hello. Wow, you got an orb.
Yes, I've got an eldritch orb. I'm casting extremely intense and dramatic bisexual lighting, and yes. I'm living for it, and I'm especially living for wired Jared, who's just like, oh yeah,
give me blood.
Yeah,
give me blood. I want it.
Yes, fully dilated pupils and raring to go.
That's right. I'm really, really jazzed tonight. Fully erect nipples, and I'm just ready to play. The crew is in a tight spot from the last time we left them. We had a downtime session. The downtime session suddenly exploded into a real-time session. It exploded into free play. A lot of really dangerous, scary things happened.
Yeah.
Your take on that, Ross Bryant, before I bring in your other players.
Whew, man, yeah, run and gun. Well, old pretty Marko got beaten to a dang pulp for therapy, and also got beckoned to a creepy little hidey hole in our steampunk city by a ghostly child.
Yes.
Given the sort of reckless individual that pretty Marko is, he followed them in there and found a bunch of metal golems walled up in in an old viaduct. So that was pretty cool, but that paled in comparison to the dramatic arcs of the other characters.
Oh my God. Wow, thank you for not only did you tell me how you felt, you gave a recap, and I really appreciate that. Let's bring in our next player. This guy, what a fantastic player. You can see him run games and playing games on the Glass Cannon Network. They are our heroes to you, heroes to us. Please welcome as sometimes as the Jockey, Archibald Gray, but tonight, that character has been captured. So what's going to happen. Please welcome Joe O'Brien, ladies and gentlemen.
What is going on, gentlemen?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm stressed out. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this game. It used to just
Stressed
be
out
fun,
as a
and now it's
player
work.
and as a character. Stressed as a player and a character, right?
Oh yeah. Maxed stress on Archie, and it's a scary time. But I just want to say real fast. I just want to reiterate and back you up, Jared, on the just honestly spectacular nature of this book, of this Blades in the Dark book. It really is probably the best written role-playing game in the last 20 years, like you said. I keep dipping back into it. I keep reading it, different sections all the time. I keep finding new and exciting things. And I've earmarked a little passage that I'd like to read tonight at some point.
Please, that's lovely. Thank you.
It'll make its way up at a certain point, and you'll see. It's something I read that was like, this is perfect for going into this session. And it's a really well-written book.
Now I know Joe's going to wait until I'm like, and that's when your character catches on fire. And Joe's going to be like, excuse me, and lift the book and be like, page 24. Well, I can't wait for it. And it really is the most wonderful role-playing game written in the last 20 years. So quit dragging your feet. Go and buy it. Go and play it with your friends over the internet. It works really well that way. It doesn't require a lot of like moving parts to play a great game of Blades in the Dark. I'm going to bring in a guy with so many moving parts. This guy he's a complex man. I mean, let's just be honest. His character motivations are strange, sometimes ineffable. Is that the right word? Unfathomable. That's what I meant to me. In fact, he particularly confused me when his character, Pontiac Zoe, just jumped off of a bridge 100 feet into concrete last time. And I was flummoxed. I can't wait to see what he does tonight. Please give your love and your energy to Mr. Troy Lavallee, everybody.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hi.
I was just reading this amazing role-playing game from Evil Hat Productions called Blades in the Dark.
What a coincidence.
Quite good.
It is quite good. You know, if you ever read their Fate system, Evil Hat publishes that too. It's so clear and so brilliantly written. And then they came out with Blades in the Dark after that, and it's even better. These guys are just very good at writing a role-playing game that you can play and understand.
Well,
and we were talking. Sorry, go ahead, Troy.
I'll go. After our last session, I jumped on Amazon and immediately bought Scum and Villainy and Band of Blades, because I'm like, we have to play all of them if they're.
We have to. Yeah, the Scum and Villainy, of course, is the outer space science fiction version of Blades in the Dark, and I'm really excited to get into that someday myself. Right after our last session, I went and I bought a copy of Blades in the Dark for my entire family. My grandma, who's 91, my mother, my Aunt Linda, and she doesn't know what it is yet, but I'm like, just play it, Aunt Linda. Just play it, you know?
Yeah.
Her favorite film is The Secret Life of Pets.
Well, she'll love what we have planned.
Yes. Any questions? Any bookkeeping? Guys, this is your time. Get Linda on the stream. Declan, I'll say it right now. It's happening.
All Linda, all the time.
We get so many requests from my Aunt Linda. Guys, any questions, any bookkeeping, any kind of playery stuff, or just, a warning you want to give me? Because last time you scared the pants off me with the ways your characters behaved. Anything at all before we get into the fiction of the game?
I mean, the amount of questions that I have, it would take the whole stream just asking questions about how we're going to start this session.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Where to begin.
How are we going to start?
I think
like
that's a good first question.
1,000 years ago, this was a land of beauty and magic. Then came the cataclysm that blotted out the sun and ripped open the gates to the land of the dead. The city of Doskvol is a metropolis of factories and refineries, protected by its crackling lightning towers, fueled by marvelous electroplasm. Outside the walls is a wasteland of vengeful spirits. Inside the walls is a wretched hive of scum and villainy, intrigue, and corruption. Life is cheap in a city ruled by death. The sun is gone. The only thing that shines in Doskvol are the blades in the dark. And we are going to start like this. We are going to start like this. That's a poem I wrote about Doskvol, everybody. And we're going to start.
I believe that was a haiku.
It was 757. Thank you for noticing, Troy.
I counted.
So we're going to start like this. I'm going to start with pretty Marko Coil standing outside the old rail car that forms one of the two hideouts of the Tin Whistles. They also have access to a secret grotto where their boat, the Foghound, is moored. That's in Barrow Cleft. But here we are in Coleridge, and around pretty Marko. You know, it's as usual a gray sky with purple shadows, kind of giving it a little bit of texture because there is no sun in Doskvol. And all around him is the trash and the detritus, the technology of wasted generations, rusting hulks of the formal marvels of engineering that used to ferry people to and fro across the land of Akaros. And he is holding a note. He is holding a note, and that note was just delivered to him by a Tycherosi sex worker. And the note says, "We have the Jockey. 8 coin and release our cat house, or we will let loose the bear." There's no question who it comes from. Whoever Nyryx's lieutenant is, she sent it. She has one of your crewmates. She's mentioned the bear. Someone in the long line, the long list of people you've wronged, you've fucked over in your career as a scoundrel.
Yeah.
So I ask you, pretty Marko, what do you do next?
We may have done him dirty, but he's a bit of a backstabber, isn't he? Yeah, so he's hope Murmur's doing okay. Good gulp. So yeah, it's like, oh hell no, you're not pulling this out from under us. We got to get this boy out of here. So Pretty's got to start coming up with a plan to spring the Jockey and get the bear off our backs for good and all.
Yes. So you know that you've looked around for Murmur. You did that in our last stream, and you've kind of been unable to find Murmur. Mm-hmm. Likewise, you know that they have Archibald Gray, Joe's character, the Jockey. So who do you think would be your natural next step to kind of, you tell me, what would you like to do? And by the way, we're not going to go directly, we probably will have a score tonight, viewers, but we're not going to go directly into it. We're going to take a little time to introduce some people to you. So Marko Coil, what would you like to do?
Okay. I'd like to, I guess, case the larger brothel where he's being killed prisoner to get a sense of what I believe may be the battlefield for busting out the Jockey.
Great. I'm going to say that you are gathering information. And so
That's
you
right.
must tell me the action you are using to gather information.
I am using a hunt, I would say.
Okay. So in Blades in the Dark, you can choose any of your action ratings. Although sometimes it's going to make it a little more difficult to, for example, use Tinker or Wreck in a situation to get information. But in this case, I think Hunt works perfectly well. It allows you to hunt people and things through the city. And that is what you would be doing in this case. And so we know that Archibald Gray last time went marching into the arms of the Marchesa. That is the other kind of den of iniquity that Nyryx was running before you killed her and took over one of her cat houses. So you are now scoping out, you're kind of checking out the arms of the Marchesa. It's sort of a mid-level inn that caters to the burgeoning middle class of Doskvol. And go ahead and give me that roll. What is your, wait, first let me know your rating in Hunt.
I have 1 pip.
1 pip. Okay. So you're going to be rolling 1 die. And I'm going to say, looking, and you say you're just going to be like kind of across the street or kind of in the area, kind of getting a look at it.
That's right. Keeping a low profile.
Okay,
Seeing
great.
the comings and goings.
Okay, great. I'm going to say that this will be standard effect, and it's risky because you could be spotted. They know who you guys are.
Question, Jared, when you have one pip, is it one die or do you roll 2 and take the lower?
One die. Only when
one
you have
die?
0
If
do
you
you
have 0,
roll
you
two
take.
and the
Yeah,
lower.
Oh
yeah.
my God, that's brutal. One die.
Oh, I got a 6.
Okay, that's really great. And so I'm going to start a clock called the Arms of the Marchesa Security. Okay, and that clock is going to have only four quadrants because right now a lot is going on there, and it's and it is also a public business, so it can be a little tough for them to keep it secure. Okay, and because you got a 6, I'm going to go ahead and fill in 3 of the 4 quadrants. Okay.
Nice.
And that means that your 6 entitles you to knowing a bunch of stuff, but it also means that you have extra effect when you try to get into this place later, Marko Coil. Okay, so what you notice is that earlier in the day there must have been some kind of scuffle or some kind of incident there because you see some irate customers leaving in a huff. Okay. And then you see some blue coats show up, 3 blue coats to be specific, and they don't leave. Normally the blue coats would respond. The blue coats, of course, are the lawmen in Doskvol. They are like, city watch police. They show up in their blue coats and their bobby hats. They go inside, and normally they would respond to something, and in a few hours they would leave, but you kind of keep moving through the district like regular intervals, trying to stay unseen. And you notice that they don't leave; that they kind of stay there. So it looks like, in terms of a situation there, security wise, they do have some blue coats in there that are helping them out with whatever happened. There was some kind of violent altercation that made the customers leave. Also, it is 3 floors altogether, and it looks very climbable, and there are a lot of windows. So that is why, your 6 got you almost completely through the clock on security. It's not an easily defendable location, but they appear to have brought in some corrupt police muscle to kind of keep it secure right now. All right. So with that in mind, I think what I would like to ask you, and this is a bit of a leading question, forgive me, but I desperately want to bring in my favorite players, Troy and Joe. Who would you reach out to kind of help you or rescue the jockey, knowing that you can't find Murmur anywhere?
I think who I'd reach out to is someone that was mentioned in the last session. Someone that we encountered, or a crew that we encountered, run by a guy named Ulf Ironborn.
Ah, yes.
Who we learned has a crew that will fight to the end with and never give up. Seems like the sort of person that you'd want to like rush a door, or bust into a joint. So I think I would try to negotiate a little partnership.
Great. So I'll set that scene very quickly. You go to Ulf Ironborn. You know where the tenement in Coleridge where he makes his headquarters. Do you want to talk to the man himself, or do you want to just kind of talk to his gang?
I feel like I'd want to talk to the man himself.
Very good. I'm going to allow you to just talk to Ulf Ironborn. I'm going to quickly check my faction information because every month we do a faction turn here, and sometimes that affects people like Ulf Ironborn.
And I get hit with a sap and thrown in the lake.
I have a question. I have a question about the faction turn. Mm-hmm. I have been not watching the faction turn because that is by design. Yes. Spoiler, it would be, or I mean, as a player, it would be spoilery. So I shouldn't watch it, right?
Well, if you watched it, I don't think it would ruin your gameplay or anything at all. But I think if you want maximum immersion in the fictional universe, then you would indeed skip.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so Ulf is like you're in his terrifying tenement. I mean, like it's like just people playing dice and like knife fighting. It's like the Foot Clan, but Doskvol version.
My kind of people.
Yeah, just a hive of dirty, nasty, mean-spirited thugs, and it's only because you have a little bit of a rep now with Ulf that you are able to get up to his second in command, Havid. And Havid is like, and what do you want to speak to Ulf about? Havid has like a weird like haircut. You're not sure what the idea behind it is. He's shaved certain sections. And he looks a little bit like a businessman, except that you see that one hand is like scarred all over. Why? You're not quite sure.
Okay. I'd like to see Ulf because I got a little partnership I'd like to discuss with him. Got some business we'd like to take care of.
Well, you can tell me. I handle all of Ulf's business. So what's shaking?
Sure, I couldn't just speak to the man himself.
I'm sure that you can't. So you can tell me, Havid, what the business is. And if you waste any more of my time, I'll be asking for a little extra in your tithe this month.
All right, well, hell, suppose it pays to be polite then. I got a line and a little opportunity for you, if you care to take on a risky job.
What's the job, Coil?
As you may know, me and the other whistles have been getting into the skin game. And if you want a piece of the action, we might be able to take over more than what we got right now. It's a low-run cat house, it is, but we smash up this other place, might be doubling our property. And if you help us take it, then you'll get a cut of that as well.
Yeah.
As long as you help us free the Jockey.
Coil, no. You took that vice den without consulting Ulf. You are stretching yourselves out into other districts of the city. Are you not? Your crew is too ambitious. You keep overreaching yourself.
Look, boyo, man's reach has got to exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? Come on.
We're looking to...
Ain't you got no ambition yourself, man? I thought that's what made a man.
Ulf has plenty of ambition. Oh, this city's going to be ours one day because we play it smart. And we play our cards close to our chest. We don't go running off into night market and assaulting other gangs. So if I were you, I would talk to the crew of your little ship, see if one of them will help you out with whatever errand you're trying to ask Ulf to help out with. We want no part of it.
All right,
this audience is at an end. And two big Skovlanders walk up and are like,
oh, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah. I can take no for an answer. Pleasure as always. Love the hair. And turn and walk out.
Very good.
So he walks out like with this big smile that falls as he walks out the door, like son of a fucking bitch, and then goes back to see if he can intercept Murmur.
Very good. So actually, he's looking for Murmur, but he finds someone else. He's wandering around a night market for a while. You know, night market is where the Arms of the Marchesa is, and he keeps going to kind of take a look at it, kind of keep a beat on it. When he is approached by a completely different character played by Troy Lavallee.
Say what?
Yes.
Oh, so perfect. Great intro.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome.
And also, if Troy's going to sometimes just do crazy shit that I'm not in on it, I'm going to suddenly introduce him like that.
I love it. I love it. So I'll just jump in then. If you're walking around night market, let's say you're walking by an alleyway, and you turn and look, and there is a figure staring at you. And he is over 7 feet tall, and he stands out. I mean, he's standing all alone in this alley, but you can't miss him, and he's just like staring at you, watching. He's rail thin, wears a long black robe that may even look like a dress as it dangles down to his feet. He's bald, and he has a thin mesh blindfold over his eyes. And he stands there, and he just beckons you.
I don't want to play your character for you, but I would run. I would just run as fast as you can.
Of course you would run.
This is clearly the boss of the score.
Hey, look,
Boss of season 1.
the jockey is smart and capable, but Pretty Marko is unstable. So he sees this figure and is like, he just followed a ghost girl into a cavern. So yeah, he walks into the alley and he's like, yeah. A lot of folks stare at me. It's a gift and a curse. But
By the way, Marko points to a face that's pretty busted up right now.
yeah, points to the half of his face that's real puffy and like eyes still bloodshot. And it's like, if you're looking to do more than look, I happen to be a co-owner of a little place where you can get that sort of thing done.
I thought you were the one named Pretty.
So-called. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
We'll get to that momentarily. Suffice it to say that I am a former associate of your friend Pontiac Zoe. I believe you know him as Murmur. That young man, I owe him a great deal. He sent a letter to me, the contents of which I will not divulge at this time, but suffice it to say, he has been through a lot in his life, and he believes your crew, the Tin Whistles, represent an opportunity for him to rise up. But according to the letter, you are struggling. So he has sent me in his stead. My name is Lyle. Lyle Gethsemane. But you may call me Stacks.
All right, then. Friend of the Murmur's a friend of mine. And you have it right there, boyo. Every day's a struggle around here. So if you can turn the temperature down on that, then you'll be even more than a friend. Because right now we got quite the struggle.
Yes, that is my plan. As I said, I owe much to this young man, and I would give my life for him. One question before we begin business. I see a young girl in your eyes.
Do you know?
Yes.
That's funny. I've been seeing a young girl quite a bit lately. Often when I least expect it.
Yes, that is how they tend to come and go. This is good. We'll need more like her for the scores to come. Come, show me your lair.
Right this way. And I take him back. Oh, what a meet cute.
What a meat cute.
Yeah.
He dropped his books all over the place.
He beckoned me and saw a dead girl in my eyes.
That whole time, Marko's got his hands in his pockets, putting his fingers through like the bladed brass knuckles, just like waiting for things to go sideways. And but he's intrigued and desperately needs help right now. So,
well, maybe help is coming from unexpected quarters. When you arrive back at the rail car, one member of the crew of the Foghound has come and is waiting for you outside, and is actually, in fact, chatting with a member of the Lost. Remember, the Lost are the other gang that kind of shares this old rail yard with you. And this character will be played by Joe O'Brien.
Process.
Why has he come? Why has he come? Why has he come to petition the Tin Whistles? What does he need from them? Let's find out.
Okay. I can also imagine it as you're walking back to the rail car. You see this conversation, I guess, wrapping up with this other person, and then standing outside the car, you see a man who you might recognize from a distance from his sort of iconic tricorn hat, which you recognize him wearing because you've seen him on the ship as a deckhand, essentially. But you know him to be an older guy, which is not usually the job an older guy has, middle-aged guy. But you might have ordered him around a few times, told him to do a few things, never heard much from him, very quiet. But now you come up and you see a silhouette as he kind of leans back against the rail car, and in the darkness, a small cast of moonlight comes across him. You see the silhouette of the tricorn hat. A heavy greatcoat sits large on his shoulders with a collar that goes up and hides most of the side of his face, and sticking out from the shadow of the collar is a burning cigar. And the smoke is just like easing up toward the sky. And he's just leaning back and not looking at you and just looking at the ground.
So this is someone that you're familiar with from the crew of the Foghound. You'll recall that the Tin Whistles, you, Pontiac, and Archie, took the Foghound ship from the Foghounds faction, from the Foghounds gang in episode 3 of our series. And you sort of inherited the people that ran the ship, although they weren't always necessarily really, obedient to you. They haven't necessarily been like your cohort or your allies, but you do recognize this man as a member of that crew, pretty Marko. So as you and Gethsemane approach, you know who this is. You know it's one of the gentlemen whose former leaders you completely destroyed, save for the bear. You shot. You were there when Goldie was shot and fell off the side of a cliff into the void sea. And you were there as Pontiac used his mental mesmerism to completely take apart the mind of this man's captain, Marget Vale. And so there he is.
Okay. Well, there's a frame I recognize. You come bringing more messages from the bear, do you?
He turns slowly to regard you as you come up, pulls the cigar down from his mouth, spits on the ground, stands up tall. Not 7 feet tall, mind you, but a solid 6 foot, 6'1". He's hunched. He's got a drawn, sort of pale face, a heavy beard. And he says, "Word got to me that the bear's poked his head up above ground again, has he? Well, that was a mistake. First mistake was you letting him get away with it. But now, he's brought himself to bear, so to speak. And he's got something coming from me. And I'd like to talk to you about how to get closer to him." And he just puts this big cigar back in his mouth.
See there, here what we have is an example of serendipity. So I myself am on a bit of a bear hunt. And you have it right. He ain't hibernating no more. And so yeah, let's have a little chat.
Go inside and talk, shall we? And
Let's do.
He'll duck into the rail car, and then he sees this tall. Sorry, the mesh over the eyes, Troy. I mean, is this just like a fashion statement, or is he blind, or?
It's just a very weird accessory. You can see his eyes behind it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're looking directly at you.
Okay,
Very cool.
I should also say, so you would know his name is Fergus Frost Blackburn. They call him Frost on the ship. That's just sort of his like nickname. But we have a dog incident. There's a dog incident.
Goodbye, Corgi. We love you.
Sorry.
Pork chop, ladies and gentlemen. Unofficial mascot of the Tin Whistles, pork chop. Okay.
She's walking around a little too much. Sorry.
That's okay. So we're just friends playing a game. So that's I'm sorry, Joe. Please give your name to our friend Pretty Marko.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that you would know that they call him Frost on the ship. Frost Blackburn. His first name is Fergus, and he's been there for some time, just kind of like laying low. You come inside, and and he wants to introduce himself to Lyle Stacks Gethsemane, and they can exchange pleasantries.
Mm-hmm. It is a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Blackburn. And he looks back.
How did you come? Oh.
And then he turns back to you.
How did you come to find us here? It's a long way down here to come. The rail yard.
Yes, I am associate of a man named Pontiac Zoe. I assume you are familiar with him.
Aye, the Tycherosi. Yeah.
Yes.
And I should mention that Lyle is Tycherosi as well. So his
Makes
skin
sense.
very pale, but he doesn't have the same demonic features of Pontiac, or at least none that you can see. The weirdest thing about him is the blindfold.
And the 7 feet of height, which I would argue is a demonic feature.
Around 7'3", yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like that giant from Twin Peaks.
Yes.
It is happening again.
It is happening again. And so these oh god, looks like an enormous ghost. Thank you, Secret GM Clinton Trucks. And so these 3 strange characters, I mean, I wonder what it means to Marko's sense of destiny or fate that when he's in this tight spot, suddenly these 2 men emerge, one of whom actually has a vendetta against the bear.
Yeah. He's and is talking about the ghosts that's following him, and the little charms on his neck. He's superstitious. Is like, I know something up there looking out for me.
And perhaps Gethsemane sees the little girl sitting back in a part of the rail car, kind of like giggling as she watches you all gather and decide what you're going to do. And so let us move into the engagement roll for this job. Well, before the engagement roll, we do our little bit of planning. Will this job, and I don't even know what you guys are planning yet. We're gonna figure it all out right now by deciding whether these 3 are going to go in for an assault, a deception, a stealth mission, an occult approach, social, or a transport approach. And I would say that let's go ahead and decide what our goal is. What do you guys think the goal is here? Is it rescuing Archie? Is it taking that other brothel? Is it destroying the bear? And of course, all of these things could happen, but one of them should be the job. So which one is it?
Frost would just say, I'm here to hunt bear, and anything else that comes along with it, fine by me. I just want to cut this fair. And
I think that's Marko's main thing also, is to pay back Bear for the knife.
But
I understand that this brothel is the big spot in town, and that our house of pleasure is small potatoes, as they say. So perhaps we destroy their brothel and then wear the top spot in town.
Or take it for ourselves, no? Can't we turn it around, use what's already there and make a nice fresh coin?
Perhaps.
I tell you, you
Okay.
get a place like that, it wouldn't take too long to get some blue coats on your side. The ones that take the proper payoffs are willing to look the other way. You get a place like that, and not only can you operate it for money, but you can use it as a place to strike out in other ways as well.
Tell you, they already been working that angle. I seen a blue coats on their payroll just this morning.
Not surprised.
Very good. So it looks like we all want to kill the bear, but maybe taking the arms of the Marchesa is the main goal. But we do have to kind of decide. These other goals can like kind of come in and out and definitely be pursued. But I want to know, just in terms of a score, just to keep us all on the same page, what we're really trying to do.
I'm saying I want to take the arms and second place. Like if we fall short, destroy it.
So it's an assault.
I think it's an assault
It's an assault.
because ultimately
assault.
the thing in the letter that bothers me the most, of course, I want Archie back as a player, but the thing that bothers me the most is, that we have to shut the place down. They're not just looking for a ransom; they're looking for our old the place that we're holding now as well, and that's never going to stop unless we take them out. So saving Archie doesn't solve that. Killing Bear doesn't solve that, and so we have to make sure that we take the place.
Understood. Okay, so I just need a detail. What is the point of attack for this assault?
Front door or back door?
Right, or you learned a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's climbable. You can get in. You can get into one of the upper stories also.
My experience, it's better to keep your distance when possible. And you see out of his greatcoat, he pulls this enormous rifle, like old school rifle, and it's just like, and sets the butt of it down on the floor, and he's just like, "How many windows did you say there were?" And kind of smiles a little bit. And so, let me tell you what he is.
We haven't discussed that.
Yeah. So he is a hound in the classes of the game, which is essentially a hunter. Well, actually, you can build them a lot of different ways. But the way that I built him is he's sort of a hunter and a sniper, basically. Now, I could specialize even more in sniping, but I elected not to. I elected to take the special ability that the hound has called Tough as Nails, because this guy's been through a lot. But he doesn't have any trauma yet. He hasn't gotten it in the criminal world. He's gotten it elsewhere, which we can get to at another time. But Tough as Nails means all penalties from harm are one level less severe, except level 4. Yeah, so so he's a good guy to have in an assault, because if he takes damage, he can automatically reduce it, which is great. And then, he's skilled at hunting, prowling, skirmishing, surveying, and command. He's got 1 pip in command, so not very good at the other resolve abilities, and not much of a studier. You know what I mean? He's just sort of an action kind of guy, but he likes to keep his distance when he can, and he's a sharpshooter. So,
cool.
Troy, you should tell us the facts, the game facts about Lyle.
If you haven't figured out already, Lyle is a whisper. Which is one of the more interesting classes, I think. They're all about sort of arcane rituals, channeling spirits and demons, attuning themselves to the ghost field that runs throughout Doskvol. It's a real interesting class. It's the type of class that, we'll see how it goes. But when I was reading it, I remember being like, well, it seems pretty straightforward until the addition of the Whisper. I'm like, well, now this changes the game completely where you have a character like this. So I was like, let's try it and see how it plays.
Excellent. And I heard one point of attack sort of implied or suggested, which is sniping through all of those windows.
Those windows, yeah.
Which that sounds like a point of attack to me. But I don't want to kill discussion. Are there any other thoughts?
I don't have any as a character. I can't really, I can do whatever. It's fun. You can get desperate actions and all that kind of stuff. But like, he's just not adept at like breaking in the front door and starting to smash heads. So I think we could, split up, go different ways. But maybe the first moment is a shot from a distance at somebody. I don't know. Maybe just to cause hysteria. And that's the initial thing, is just a shot through a couple shots through the glass, cause some hysteria, use that to get you guys inside.
And then we come busting in.
Yeah. And then I can start taking out blue coats or something. Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, well, here's the other thing.
What's our engagement role? Like, what's our specific first thing? That's the toughest part, because that sets everything in motion. Do I just go in and smash a craps table?
We don't even have to decide right now. We could just decide that our friend Frost is going to snipe through a window at somebody, and then we could go from there.
See what happens. Yeah, I like.
Okay. Shall we?
Yeah.
Let's go from there.
Well, hold on. Right before you roll it, I'm going to read this little thing that I came across in the book as I was getting ready for this
Here
session.
it comes.
And
Yep, there it is.
And I was just like, this is so cool, and something I didn't think of before, and it makes so much sense now. And it says, when you start a crew with your partners, you intend to build something that hopefully will live past the scope of your own criminal careers. This is why we have a separate character sheet for the crew, tracking its development, growth, and influence. In a sense, the crew is the central figure in the stories we're going to tell about the underworld of Doskvol. Scoundrels will come and go, burned out due to trauma, or killed, or forever lost to their vices, or if they're lucky, gone to some comfortable retirement. But the crew carries on. There's just a cool, like, it's the crew is the character here, and now the Tin Whistles, even though they're made up a little bit different this time, are going on another score. It's a cool system. I really dig it.
That is beautiful. That's like, and it's different. It's different from every game I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, we have to decide on the engagement roll. So, is this operation particularly bold or daring? I think it is. It sounds nuts. You're gonna fire through a window, and then the other guys are gonna come through the front door. That's crazy. Does the plan's detail? Go ahead, Marko.
I actually might not bust in through the front door. If there's a shot going off, I might try to go in one of those windows, since climbability was so
It's
mentioned.
all a big amorphous cloud right now. After that shot happens, you can tell me where you're positioned and what you're doing. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weaker? I'm going to give you that because we had Marko go in, gather information, figure out that there were windows and that was an exposed and vulnerable point. So I'm giving you a die for that. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight into this operation? Are any enemies or rivals interfering in the operation? I'm going to say that these people really hate you. And so I'm taking away a die for enemies and rivals interfering. Bear hates you. He's made plans to destroy you. He has plans to fuck with your operation in a meaningful and hurtful way. And so I'm taking a die away. And are there any elements you want to consider? Guys, right now you're sitting on one die. Is there any other thing you want to argue or explain to me that I've forgotten that might give you another die in this engagement roll?
This is desperate. I mean, we really don't.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is that, like, we as a crew through Marko's story already did, a hunt roll, but like my guy is an expert hunter. So, I just don't know if there is like another roll to be had. Another day goes by and he looks at the comings and goings, fill that clock. You know what I mean? Like, if
do you want to fill that clock?
If we fill the clock, could we get one
There
more
we go.
die on the engagement roll?
Let's try to fill that clock. You tell me, actually, let's bring Ferguson. Let's bring Frost, Blackburn. Blackburn, you're going to roll whatever action you'd like to help your friend Marko or your boss, your compatriot, Marko, case this joint and get past the security, figure out the security, and that will fill the clock. And it actually will give you one very unique and important clue. So which action are you going to use for that?
He's going to do hunt. He's going to set up in a building, like more than a block away, and he's got a scope that's on this rifle that allows him to like zoom in a good distance, and he's going to just check these windows for like an entire day, just watching everything. And one of the main things he's watching is the comings and goings of these blue coats, when they come, where they take their payoff, how, who they're talking to, all that kind of stuff, and if there is a gap in their surveillance. Otherwise, anything that might surprise him, he's just keeping an eye through all these windows through the day and through the night. So I'll do a hunt. I'll do a hunt roll.
Great. Give me that hunt roll. The hunt roll is going to be controlled. The situation you described to me seemed pretty controlled. And it's going to have standard effect, but standard effect will fill the rest of that clock. And I will tell you the final details about their security here, and maybe give you one other clue.
Okay. Let's see. First roll is Frost. 6.
A 6.
Wow.
The clock is filled.
Bam.
The blue coats are just hanging out as guards. These guys are really corrupt. They when some of them leave, others come to kind of help out whoever's running the brothel now. There's always 3 at any given time, but Frost, you notice by looking in upper story windows that occasionally they decide to sample the goods here at the Arms of the Marchesa. In fact, they kind of have a habit of it going. And at times, 2 of them are sampling the goods at once. I will give you one final and crucial clue, which is to say that you see a Tycherosi woman who seems to be one of the sex workers, but she seems a little bit more of an august personage than the others. You got a 6 through an upstairs window. You see her hand a note to one of her other sex workers, who runs out into the city and runs off to go deliver that note to somebody. And if someone would like to try some sort of action to figure out where she went or what she did, I will allow that right now, but it cannot be Frost because he is on stakeout.
He's talking into his walkie-talkie. He's like, we got a boogie moving north along the docks there. Over,
but it's a steam walkie-talkie. You put a piece of coal in it.
Once we do the engagement roll, we'll do the loadout. And if you have walkie-talkie on there, by all means. But right now, let's keep that kind of in the fog of war. And let me know if anybody wants to follow this young Tycherosi sex worker as she skitters off across the city on an errand.
Absolutely. So just make that, again, a hunt roll?
Well, it's up to you. Are you, Marko, the one who's going to follow her and then tell me what action you'd like to use?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
It sounds like I've already cased it. It seems like I might be there helping out with this little operation. And if Frost gives me the nod, I might just bust out and see if I can tail her.
Oh, I'll keep my eye on the place.
Okay. Very good. What action are you using? Is it hunt?
Hunt.
Okay, great. So 6 means you know exactly where she went. 4 or 5 means you know where she went, but there was a complication. And a 1 to 3 means you lose her.
All right. I just get
let's
one.
just say it is a standard effect, and it is a risky action because she's connected to some people who want to see you die.
Right. Here we go. We can just get one dice to roll. Here we go. Ooh, a 5.
Great.
Okay.
I'll take
A 5. That means a success with consequences. You notice that she moves all the way across the city to Barrow Cleft, where she delivers a note to a gondolier. The gondoliers, of course, have their own guild in the city. They move along the canals, which crisscross the city every which way through all the districts. The gondolier receives the note, and he even takes a couple coin out of it and pockets it, payment for some service. Here is our gondolier. Look at him.
Oh my
yes.
God.
Oh my! What an interesting man. Also blindfolded, which who knows what that means. So our gondolier pockets the coin and nods at our Tycherosi lass, who runs off. But there is a complication. And let's see, what are the different complications that I can levy against you? I'm going to say that the complication is that things get a little worse, for a worse position for our friends, the Tin Whistles. In this particular case, while you were gone, because you used the time to figure this out, more blue coats arrive.
Ugh.
There are 6 in the hotel tonight, and they are having a party with the sex workers. And so there is more opposition. That is the complication that happens because you didn't take the opportunity right away. So, by the way, Frost Blackburn, you got a 6. So I want you to know that you also occasionally see just a hint of bear, like because Frost, you know him very well. Unfortunately, he never comes and just quite looks out the window, or you might not have been able to save yourself from taking the shot. But like you see his back for a moment, and you're like, lining up the beat of the shot, and then he moves away again. You never see Archie. And so now, are we ready for our engagement roll?
Hell yeah, dude.
Let's
All right,
go.
guess what? I had
be
1
terrible.
die, but that extra setup action gains you 2. Okay.
All right.
So
we go.
you know how this works in the engagement roll. If you get a 1 to 3, you will be in a desperate situation to begin the score. If you get a 4 or 5, you'll be in a okay place to start the score. And if you get, you'll be in a risky position. And if you get a 6, you're in a controlled position when the action starts.
Sorry, one more point of order.
Yes.
At this stage, we have to
Load out.
Load out. And Frost Blackburn is going heavy. He's going to go in heavy load because this is a full-on assault. He's not trying to be deceptive. So he's going to bring weaponry, armor. Well, I'm not saying what he's bringing. I'm just saying he's taking a heavy load.
Right. You'll decide as the game.
He's already got
progresses.
a rifle. I mean, that's 2. That's 2.
Right.
So like,
and coming from how does the load? What's the consequence for the heft of the load?
Well, it's much of it is sort of fictional in that people will notice if you have a heavy load immediately.
Gotcha.
You're going to be running down the street looking like a warrior.
yeah, you look like you're outfitted for like a major combat.
Also,
good.
I could make things reduced effect if a heavy load would affect that.
Cool.
Anything that encumbrance might affect. I'll stick it to you guys as hard as I can and make you sort of upset with me. Okay.
Sounds good.
So,
I'm going
are you going to
normal.
go heavy?
I'm going normal because a cutter
Okay.
can carry a lot with
Very-
normal.
Very good. And how about Lyle?
Lyle's going normal as well, and I've already burnt one of my load on something I already have in my person.
Beautiful. And remember, guys, flashbacks anytime you'd like. They cost stress, but you can take them. And you could even start with a flashback by like saying, hey, I've decided I was here the whole time or some such thing. Just letting you know that is an option for you. Okay.
All right.
So now I'm rolling the 2 dice and let's see how the score starts.
2 dice.
It starts with our friend Frost lining up his rifle. Who is walking into the path of his crosshairs?
Archie.
Guys, I rolled a 2 and a 6.
Shit, whistle's gonna blow!
Yeah. Toot toot.
You are in a controlled situation, and so I'm going to say that you witness at one point in the night, Frost, 3 of the 6 blue coats that are currently there are in. It's hard. There's like 4 windows across the second floor of this place. 3 of the 6 blue coats that are in there are completely easy to fire on, but there's another choice. If you move up to the penthouse,
I could just see this. I could see it so
Yes.
clearly.
if you move up to the penthouse, you see that in the flickering amber light of some fire that's roaring up there, you see the August Tycherosi madam kind of talking animatedly with someone. So you have 4 targets that you can easily choose from. And because the score starts off at a controlled position, I'm not going to make you roll an action. I'm going to just let you pull the trigger. So tell me who.
Okay. He's going to wave the weapon over all these targets, and it's probably at this point I should say that Frost Blackburn is a former inspector, constable, and he knows a lot of bluecoats. He's dealt with them a lot in his time, and you can see like what you can see of his face outside of the scope is just like, he just sort of sets this cigar down, one last look, and he sees they're all lined up. He's like, "You bastards, tonight's your lucky night." He raises it up and fires at the madam of the place, trying to cut the head off the snake.
Yeah, there she is.
There she is.
And I mean, she's just talking to somebody, and then like hideous crushing of glass and explosive round. Because I mean, I can only imagine by the rules, like he's got a shot, and then it's like a whole reload situation. You know what I mean? He's not like bang, bang, like, you know what I mean? The weaponry isn't quite that good, I don't think. It's more like akin to a musket, but with way better accuracy.
No, but you're right. I mean, like, it's incredible accuracy. The window shatters. She goes from like just like a shower of gray matter, and in the amber light of whatever the fire that it's casting, you just see like it's like a rain of shadows from her head, and that is when we can ask our friend Marko or our friend Lyle what they are doing, because you can see, Frost, from your POV that everybody is kind of like, what's but listen, they're not like, oh no, someone's been shot. They're kind of just like, they're engaged in the acts of they're engaging their vice of pleasure, of course. And but you see that like two of the three bluecoats that are in your window and the sex workers with them kind of like look up, like they notice something's wrong, but they're not quite on high alert yet. And so I will ask Lyle or Marko what you're doing.
Well, I said I was going to try to go in a window, so I would like to be kind of clambering up a fire scaffolding or something on the outside of this place. And as soon as that shot goes off, it's like cloth over the window, take it out and go in.
What action are you using to get into? Are you going into an upper story window, or are you going into one of the lower stories, or what are you doing?
Yes, please. And actually, why not make it desperate? I don't have this, but this seems like prowl.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you want to use prowl. Marko doesn't have prowl.
That's right.
So he's going to roll 2 dice and take the lower to see how it goes for him.
Or you could push it if you want for 1 die. You could take 2 stress for 1 die.
Actually, I think I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you did have great vice rolls last time, and I think you cleared your stress. Take 2 stress, give yourselves 1 die.
Okay.
And then let's see how this goes. I am going to call this desperate if you'd like. I'm going to call this desperate because, I can't think of anything more desperate than your friend shot out a window and then you climb up and smash in another window, and that's your plan. So take that.
On the other side, as they're getting pulled to one side.
The effect will be great because you have ambushed them, right? Great. So they are completely like, what the fuck? Like they were expecting you guys to come knocking on the door and try to be tough, but they weren't expecting this complete
drop off a pouch of 8 coin. That's what they were expecting. Ha!
They thought, that's what they thought. Okay, Marko, roll your action.
Come on, Marko.
2.
How'd you do?
2.
Okay. So, Marko, you go smash with your flock. Smash. Oh, maybe the windows are a little stronger than you thought. Maybe that's why they weren't quite so worried about an assault from the window. And your fist is starting to bleed as you try to bash and bash and bash. And that's when you pull your fist back again, you see one of the bluecoats standing with a pistol right outside the window.
Sounds about right.
We'll come back to you in a moment. Let's talk to Lyle, Gethsemane. How does the assault work for Lyle?
So we'll say Lyle was timing his walk into the entrance of the place with Fergus's shot. They had worked it out that maybe Lyle, I guess, we'll see if I need the flashback or not. But my thought is that he said, when you see me walk through the door, pull the trigger. And so, boom, that shot goes off. Lyle walks inside, and I imagine that the shot was loud enough that it caused some sort of commotion downstairs. Do you think the people on the first floor heard anything?
Okay, so I can tell you because we are walking in right now.
I'm in.
One thing that is beautiful is that as a whisper, the Lyle entering at the time of the shot, after he's walked a couple steps in, he hears far off the bells of Bellwether Crematorium, bong, bong, echoing through the city. But he's looking at what's going on, and in fact, everybody is going completely apeshit. Like they all are like looking up. There were 2 blue coats at like this kind of small bar. I mean, imagine this like a Hampton Inn and Suites, but for Doskvol. So there's like a little bar inside of like the kind of lobby area. And 2 of the blue coats are kind of falling off their stools, looking up. One of them is running up the stairs to see what might have gone on. His back is to you. And there are no customers in the lobby currently because they all left when Bear fucked up Archibald earlier, and the place went on kind of lockdown. Vampires of Pittsburgh lockdown 10 a.m. tomorrow Pacific. So, so that is what Lyle sees when he walks in. What would Lyle like to do?
Is there like a main room, or is it lobby and then it's all you need permission to go beyond the lobby?
Oh, there's a big, beautiful staircase that leads up to the second floor. It's quite steep and carpeted. Although someone might be able to tell that it's a cheaper kind of carpet quality than you might think. This is a straight up middle class kind of merchants kind of stopover. Kind of underneath that big, beautiful varnished staircase is this kind of little bar area. And then, of course, there's the desk to the right. But the desk clerk is also not paying attention to Lyle. He's looking over at the blue coats and what they are doing. And the desk clerk, you do notice Lyle is not, in fact, a little desk clerk of a man, but like a Severosi, bodyguard or a Severosi warrior of some sort. Severosi, of course, have kind of a Khal Drago vibe, plated or braided hair, beards, olive complexion, muscled, but wearing kind of, a proper, middle-class Doskvol business casual.
All right, this is crazy, but you know what? Let's get crazy. It's Saturday night. Lyle walks in. It's just like in slow motion. Here's that boom, slash of the glass, screaming. He looks for like a nearby lantern, and if we don't have one, I can use it as one of my equipment. Grabs it and just hurls it at the bar to like set everything on fire, to have the right at the alcohol.
I do want him to use it from his equipment. I think that they've got like weird alchemical globes lighting the place down here. So he pulls it from his equipment. And what action are you going to use to? You said you were claiming the place, and now you're setting the arms of the Marchesa on fire. What action are you using?
Rebuild. I'm going to wreck.
Nice.
This is controlled because, as I described, nobody is paying attention to you. So I'm going to give it to you controlled. Effect will be standard. I don't think that it's going to immediately create a mushroom cloud, but it's also it could catch fire. You're throwing it at alcohol.
One thing we haven't played around too much with is that you can improve your position. Like another player can improve your position. What do they? Do you know how that works? The setup.
I do. It's called the setup action. And in fact, I've got to be honest with you. I think that Frost's action is a distraction, right? In some ways, it killed the madam, but it also is a distraction. So it does set you up for greater effect. Thank you for bringing that up. You will have a great effect if you'd like.
Let's rock and roll.
Or you could take +1 die. So you could do +1 effect or +1 die.
I'd like to take the +1 effect, and then I'll push to get 1 extra die. So I'll take 2 stress.
Yes.
to get 1 extra die. All right, so I have 2 pips in wreck
So
by
this will be
pushing
3 dice for great effect.
3 dice for great effect. Come
Here we
on.
go.
You get another D6 one that's all uniform. Come on, 6. Come on, 6. 4.
Ah,
The
Okay.
4 means it worked. It just
yeah. It's a success.
Yeah.
Success with a complication, and my complication is going to be, I can't believe I'm doing this to you, but let's see what the system can do. I'm going to make it reduced effect. So you did try your hardest to make like just a giant conflagration to start, but in fact you throw your lantern and it starts a fire. It does start a fire, don't get me wrong, but it's not immediately an inferno. Okay.
Right.
And I'm going to say that, if they didn't know you were there before, they might know you're there now, Gethsemane. But there is kind of a fire going up. And I will say at this point, you notice that one of the blue coats that was at the bar is just falling off his stool, not because there's an emergency, but because he had gotten that inebriated. And now I'm going to go back to Frost Blackburn. Frost Blackburn, what is your next action after your fatal shot?
He's got 2 things. I got 2 things I want to do. First thing I want to do is immediately change position. So like he fires the gun, it makes a very loud noise. And at that point, he immediately stands up, grabs a cigar, puts it in his mouth, puts the smoking rifle into his greatcoat, and immediately changes position. So he's going to try to move across the roof of a building to another building, just nearby, to see if maybe he can get one more shot before like this area is going to be too hot to stay in. And he's going to try to move, reload, and keep an eye on the windows to see if he can do anything else.
Okay, so listen, I'm gonna let him try that right now.
So
if he does really well, if he does really well, he'll have like improved penetration or improved like effect when he fires again. If he does really poorly, if he fires again, he's gonna have reduced effect. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's have him do that. What action would you like to use?
I was going to use prowl.
Very good.
I think to like just move quietly along the rooftop and change position.
I would say for him that's controlled because he's been staking out this place for a little while.
Yeah.
And I would say that he has a standard effect. He'll get over and into a good position.
Okay, here we go. I have 2 pips in prowl, so I'm gonna roll prowl. 5. I got a 5.
5. Okay, so that's a success with a complication. And so what I'm going to say is you run over into the other position, but you don't have the perfect shot. I'm not going to give you like excessive penetration. I'm also not going to penalize you in any way. It's still tough. And you had 2 actions. It's a little bit of a restricted view, or basically what I think is you are restricted to firing into the rooms, right? That's the problem. And so the hallway is sort of invisible to you, right? But except for brief moments where people run by the doors of the rooms and you can just line it up for a second, or also like the lobby is pretty much hidden from you, except that you can kind of almost, if you got it like a really weird angle, you might be able to shoot down into it. And so Frost Blackburn, you said you had 2 things. What's your second thing?
My second thing is I said that he was a former inspector. And so inspectors in this world are sort of like the detectives. Like they handle casework, they do murder investigations, other kinds of investigations. And over the course of that time, they have a decent amount of interaction with the City Watch or the Bluecoats. And he knows a few. One of who is one of his sly friends, Celine, is a former Bluecoat. And after staking out the place, I'm going to say he recognized one of the Bluecoats and knew who they were. Through Celine, he got a meeting. So this is a flashback. I'm going to do a flashback.
Of course, yes.
So through Celine, he got a meeting with the guy, and he just comes in and in a gruff and understated and quiet conversation in an alley, he explains to this guy that this hit is going down on the place, and if he helps us out, he's going to end up with a cut of the profit of the hit, and that's the blue coat that has his gun pointed at Marko Coyle right now.
Oh, yeah.
Good flash.
It was only one stress until that last detail.
Top
now
flash.
I'm
Deuce.
making it 2 stress.
Yes.
2 stress, and so let's cut back to Marko Coyle, where the guy goes, undoes the latch,
Yep.
throws up the sash, and is like, he says, I'm a friend of Frost. Come on in.
Yes.
Yeah, but to knock and ye will be received. And he just walks in, pats the guy on the back, and then is reaching into his coat to start busting some heads. So let's do that, shall we?
He's got Archie in the penthouse. Follow me.
Great. So yeah, let's go.
You guys move out into the hall where the other one of the other blue coats. I said there were 2 upstairs. The other blue coat that was sort of like engaging in his vice comes out into the hallway, pulling his pants up, and is like, "We got a situation, Clort. Get armed." And Clort is like kind of standing there, and he looks over at you, and he looks at his co-worker, and he looks at you, and Clort's not acting to stop you, but he's also not just, blowing away his co-worker. Pretty Marko, what do you do?
Well, if there's an obstacle in your path, you got to deal with it. So we're just in a hallway?
You're in a hallway, and the blue coat that came out, he does have his gun drawn, but he's like still kind of pulling up his pants and pulling his like suspender over his shoulder.
Great. I want to lift my leg up and like catch the lip of his pants in my boot and just kind of pants him as I come down, and so he can't move, and then just clock him with my spiked knuckle.
Ooh, ouch. Controlled, great effect. And because, this guy, Fergus's amazing flashback has kind of really set you in a kind of a good position. He sees his buddies, so he doesn't think you're a problem. So controlled, great effect, meaning if you succeed at this, you'll knock him out. And go ahead and which action are you going to use?
That'll be a skirmish. So I roll 2 and take the higher. And you better believe that's a 6.
Okay.
Nice. Tonight.
You smash this blue coat in the face so hard with the spiked knuckle that the knuckle drives all the way into his head, and you're pretty sure you didn't kill him, but there's a lot of blood on your knuckle right now. And Clort watches him fall and goes, "Right, follow me." And he starts heading toward the steps to the penthouse. But that's when all of a sudden Bear comes down out of the penthouse with an enormous cutlass in his hand, and he's dragging Archibald, who is small. Remember that Archibald is small.
Very tiny. He's a jockey.
Tied into a bundle over his shoulder, and he's got a cutlass in the other hand, and he's cutting his way out of here, and we'll come back to him in a minute. Lyle Gethsemane.
Well.
Who's in the lobby right now? Drunk blue coat.
There's a Severosi bodyguard, a drunk blue coat, and a blue coat who is not drunk, who is kind of responding to what's going on up above. Like he had his back to you. He was walking up the stairs.
All right. I'm going to look at the bodyguard and who's near the bar and be like,
you there. Are you a superstitious man?
He starts, so you got his attention. He was kind of looking up the stairs before, and then he looks at you. He's kind of like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And in fact, he says that in sort of a broken Akarosi, like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
I am the harbinger of death. Do you hear the bells? By the end of this day, the spirit warden shall come and take many from this place. Go now, and you shall be saved.
That's when the guy says again in broken Akarosi, "No, bitch, I'm the harbinger of death." He pulls a big nasty knife out of his satchel, leaps over the desk where he was kind of hanging out, and starts moving toward you. How convincing is our friend Gethsemane?
Oh.
What is he doing to take care of this situation?
My goal was to command, but now that he's jumped, I will throw ectoplasm in his face.
Wait, what?
Just breaks a vial and throws it in his face.
Is that part of your loadout?
It is now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what the item is exactly?
Yeah, electroplasm vials.
Oh, electroplasm vials. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me an action? And by the way, the action doesn't have to be a throwing type action. Perhaps part of his performance was to keep the attention on one end while he was getting the vials ready. You know, Troy. Go ahead. Tell me what action you'd like to use.
Here's what I'm gonna. My original thought was command, but then when he took a strong position with me, I will throw the ectoplasm with him. I have another item that is on my person that I alluded to before. My blindfold is a fine spirit mask. So I am hyper attuned to all spiritual energy in the room. So I guess my goal with throwing this ectoplasm is to attune myself to the ghost field so that I'll leave it to you. I'm going to make you work tonight, Jared, is I will be unharmed.
You're telling the ghosts around you.
Right, to protect me, and my hope is that it'll just freak this guy out enough that he'll heed my words.
Okay, check it out. So I'm going to look at Stax's equipment list.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to look here. We're going for his proprietary equipment. Is it an electroplasm vial? Is that what you're... Electroplasm. Yeah. So electroplasm, in fact, it sort of... it fuels the lightning towers, the crackling lightning towers of the city of Doskvol, which keep the hordes of the undead, the hordes of spirits out of the city so that people may live here and dwell here. So if you're throwing electroplasm at this man, it could have a couple of effects. One that it could have is it could burn him very badly. And your friend Pontiac knows that from the electrostatic burns that he got in your very first score. On top of that, the attune thing is going to be a completely separate thing, if that's okay with you. But I have an idea of how it might work. So do you want to use attune for all of this? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you want to focus more on how the electroplasm can physically hurt him, then let's go that route, and then maybe when it comes back to me, we can worry about the attune. You know, the one thing about Lyle is that, like, not surprisingly, his vice is weird, and so he always, when in doubt, goes weird, and so he's just gonna throw the ectoplasm, partly in self-defense, but partly he's beginning to attune himself to the ghost field.
Well, you're certainly welcome to do two actions when I jump to you, and it seems like you have two kind of in the chamber here, just like Fergus Blackburn did. So you can go ahead and first tell me how you're smashing that vial against him, and because you're using equipment, I'm going to go ahead and give you +1 die. It's a highly volatile chemical. Like, throwing it at all is going to make something happen. Okay. Right. And then tell me what action you're going to use.
I want to use wreck, but I think
I'll allow that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's it's a wreck roll.
You're gonna wreck his face.
Gonna wreck. Yeah. And like, I also, by throwing the lantern beforehand, like, even though it had a reduced effect, there's a situation here, and that ectoplasm could cause a problem. So
yes.
Let's see what happens. 5.
Okay, a 5. So that's a success with consequences. So let's see. Well, let's first of all go with your success. Did I say what it was? I should have said this before. I'm going to set it now, and forgive me for retconning. I'm going to say it's desperate, because if you failed, you would take a lot of damage from this guy. I think that was very clear.
Right.
It is it's desperate. The amount of effect, it's great, because if you succeed, you take this guy out of the conflict. You remove this NPC from as a problem for you. So you have succeeded with a consequence, and here is the consequence. Okay, you smash the electroplasm vial into his face. Not only does it shock him, it burns him horribly. It spatters out all over the place, throwing up an electrostatic field that is sort of harmful to any spirits that would come like near him or you. I'm going to rule that some of that harm splatters back at you. That's what the consequence is. And I'm only going to go with a level 1 harm electrostatic burns, and you may resist it if you'd like. But otherwise, our friend, both of your characters are going to have a couple electrostatic burns. That's what it cost him to do that.
Okay, and then with resist, I just roll my lowest, like insight prowess resolve, the one with the least amount of pip.
No.
You'll roll the one that I would decide is like how you would resist relevant. That, and for that, I think it's the prowess one. I think prowess, like moving out of the way, a dexterity save, a physical save is what I want. So prowess.
And what's the penalty if I fail to resist roll? I just take the damage, or is
you always resist. Essentially, what you do is you take 6 stress, and you lower the stress by however much you roll on the die. So how many pips do you have in prowess among all those skills?
I have I have 2 points in rec, but that's only counts for 1 die roll for resistance.
That's right.
Okay, so you have 1 die roll to get less than 6 stress.
F that. I'll take the electrostatic burn.
Okay.
Yeah. It's early in the score. He's just gonna hazard the job.
And so here's how I'm going to narrate it very briefly for you, Gethsemane. I think Stax is so keyed into the spirit world and so strange that just using electroplasm, which is sort of like, it's sort of a crucifix against ghosts. It sort of keeps them out. Like he just sort of started to catch fire, and he's realizing how deeply corrupted or perhaps in the ghost field he actually dwells, because this thing that should really only hurt ghosts, like it kind of splatters against him, and it's like okay, so he also wanted to, it sounded like he wanted to kind of attune and summon, but you don't tell me if I'm wrong. Did he have a second part to this? He wanted to kind of like do something with the spirits here?
Yeah, my thought was that where someone just died, and he has this sixth sense that there'll be more deaths to come. He wanted to attune himself to that field, basically seeing if he can get some backup.
Okay, I'm going to allow it, and for that I'm going to say risky standard. It's always risky to attune to the ghost field in general, and a standard effect. He will be able to communicate to any ghosts that are here. I can't guarantee there are any, but perhaps if his attune does very well, if there are none, he will even summon some. Okay.
Can I hear a devil's bargain?
You can hear a devil's bargain. The devil's bargain is if he gets a consequence, the ghost will he'll summon ghosts he doesn't want who try to interfere.
But then I would get 1 extra die.
But you would get 1 extra die, and you would get a benefit. You would just get. So I should make that a lot clearer.
Yeah, because doesn't the devil's bargain happen anyway, whether you succeed or not?
Happens no matter what. So you get that die, and then something that you don't want to have happen happens. I think that in this particular case, he's going to summon a spirit that means trouble for the entire score. That's my devil's bargain to you. It's not a good one, but it's the one I'm offering right now.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to just try and attune. It was a good devil's bargain, and I rolled a 6.
Yeah. Nice is hot.
So he immediately sees a ghost that is here right now, and no surprise probably that the little girl is still standing out in the doorway to the entire hotel, and she goes like this and beckons you out the door again.
Lyle turns and walks towards her slowly.
Standing in the doorway, she looks up at you, and then she points down the street, and as if she knew, a carriage, a big black carriage, rattles up, driven by goats, goats, everybody, not horses. A big black carriage pulls up, driven by these huge rams, and there is a Severosi in the driver's seat, who really resembles in their apparel and their general demeanor the bodyguard you just wrecked. And they pop open a door so that it's like ready and waiting for someone. And the little girl looks at you like, and you can just see she's a skull for a second. Meanwhile, upstairs, there Bear is confronting Barry and Clort, the blue coat that's on your payroll, along with Marko Coyle. I got to tell you, Marko, Barian, he helped you get in, but when Bear starts running at you, he kind of like backs away, like, he's getting out of Bear's way. He's not like opening fire on him. It looks like it's going to be up to you. Bear is coming at you. Look, it's happening now. Okay. Bear is swinging a cutlass at your head. Okay. Cool. Listen to me. If you don't do something about this right now,
this is the fight. This is like the big fight we've been waiting for.
Yeah, man. This is the desperate fight. He knows exactly who you are, and Bear is fierce. So I'm going to say he's going to give you a level 3 harm, massive head wound.
Not his head.
Yeah, that's what unless you do something to stop that from happening right now.
Great. I think I've got my hand weapon, and then I spent all my time in a rail yard, and I think as he comes down with this blade, like up from my coat, swinging to parry it, just comes this fucking gnarly, jagged hammer that is like in my coat, swung like pick side out to catch this blade in midair and parry his blow.
Come on,
Pretty Marko, was that in your available equipment?
It is if it is a scary weapon or tool.
I definitely will allow that. And Pretty Marko, it's a desperate action because the consequences of failing are a massive head wound, level 3 harm. It is going to be a standard effect, meaning you parry him, and perhaps if you do really well, lock his weapon. For as you were describing. Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Skirmish. 5.
Success with a consequence. Okay. Success with a consequence.
Not the face.
Okay. So Bear smashes his sword against your hammer. And the thing that happens is you do manage to parry it. He does not hit you with the sword, but the amount of muscle behind his massive arm is so incredible that Pretty Marko goes flying back onto his ass. Like he's like literally knocked prone. And in his next action, because he's on the ground, he's going to be in a worse position. I'm going to now make a combat clock called Duel with Bear. And if you can fill up the 6 sections of this combat clock, you might have bested him. Right now, I'm going to say none are filled. I want to stick with this for just a little bit longer before we move to one of our other actors. But if someone thinks that they suddenly would intervene, they need to interrupt me. Okay, so
I'll interrupt you. And
Thank you.
That's classic Joe.
I have. Okay.
I knew that. Well, that's why I gave the opportunity.
But I just want to make sure that this is happening in a hallway and it's not visible to me at all.
Well, in fact, my friend, it's happening in a hallway. And it's visible to you in little snippets because you're looking through a room and then through the door out of that room, the door that Clort took, Pretty Marko through, and you see Marko kind of fall past the door, and it's all silent to you because you're across the street.
Hammer fight.
And then you see the end of like Bear's cutlass, like as Bear kind of advances. And now I'm going to describe Bear's action, and I'm going to say that our friend Fergus can, in fact, try something if he'd like. Bear comes through, and he's not wasting any time. He's thrown Archie to the ground, and he's going, "Ah, 10 whistles, die!" And he's trying to do like a full executioner's chop on Pretty Marko, and he's going directly for Pretty Marko's genitals with his sword. He is going to try to turn you into a eunuch, because Pretty Marko's kind of laying there on the floor with his like legs splayed at the moment. So
what a small play that is.
What happens? What happens? It sounds like Fergus Blackburn's about to do something.
Sounds like,
yeah, I think he's going to try to take a shot and interrupt him. But the question is I would use hunt, which is the typical long distance shot roll. Is it a decent shot, or is there
that's the problem. It's a limited effect shot. It's
Okay.
a limited effect shot because it's so much distance and there's so much cover.
Yeah.
So if there is some way to increase his effect, and like earlier he tried to, remember he did that prowl roll, he tried to get into like a perfect position, and there's just he didn't quite manage it. So it is a limited effect shot right now, but that could save your friend.
Right. I think the limited effect, could be like, even if it's one thing on the clock, or it just staggers him for a second. It doesn't have to be a headshot. You know what I mean? Like, it's worth it, and I'm going to try to take it. And I just to let you know where my head's at. Like, I'm sort of thinking of this as my last long range shot. Like, I can't keep shooting up here because they're just going to find me. And so like, he's going to kind of shoot twice and then just disappear from this rooftop and move toward the hotel is what I'm thinking right now.
Here's what I'll do. I'll give you a devil's bargain.
I knew you were going to say that.
This shot can have a standard effect.
Oh,
You find that perfect moment, but because you're shooting a third time, someone notices you. Someone you don't want to notice you notices you, and I'm going to start a new clock called "The Law Arrives." And I'm going to tick it. It's going to be the law arrives. And by the law, I don't just mean blue coats. I mean the spirit wardens. And I'm going to make it a 4-segment clock because this is night market. It's not the outskirts of Dunslow. And I'm going to click it half full if, and then you can have your die.
It's worth it.
Well, it'll save Pretty Marko, and we'll just have to deal with the cops. It'll get bad. It'll get ugly, but I gotta have Pretty Marko.
That means dealing with the cops means your heat could get crazy too in your downtime. I'm just letting you know that this has ramifications beyond having to fight some cops. And also, last time you guys tangled with the spirit wardens, it didn't go very well for you. But
I have a question.
Will only be half full. It will only be half full.
I have a question about the mechanics of that. I thought about that during the build of this character, and I thought it was an interesting concept. Is it possible that one of the reasons that he has taken to this method of violence is because he knows how the spirit wardens work? And can't they grab the image of the last person that was like attacking them? And so if you're a sniper, like the spirit wardens can't find you as easy, right? Wouldn't that stand to reason?
It would stand to reason, but the devil's bargain I've given you now is that your third shot fills half a clock, and if it fills all the way, they're going to find one of you. Okay.
I'll take it. Let's do it. Let's get. We might get some heat on our back, but I want to get the best chance to give Pretty Marko a shot in a volt, and plus standard effect. I mean, that means he takes a bullet. That means we're putting some ticks on that clock. So that bear dual clock. All right, here we go. Let's make it an unfair fight with Bear.
Yes.
I'm filling 2 segments of the clock. You've taken the devil's bargain.
And you just see his mouth through this thick, bushy black beard and then total silence as he holds his breath. And then boom! Explosion! Complete fail.
Oh, no.
No! 1, 2, 3. I rolled a 1, 2. Well, it was a bad shot. It was a bad angle.
The bullet, it goes through and it goes. Bear's head is there. Bear's head is there for a minute, and then it's gone. And blasts into. There's like a cheap portrait of like one of the early emperors, like on the wall of the Arms of the Merchants, and it just blows his head off. But it's a painting. And that's when Fergus, like from his high vantage point, looks like way down blocks away and sees like, torches and things headed toward the hotel. And that's when I'm going to go back to pretty Marko. That was Fergus's attempt to save you, Marko. Now this is coming down on you. I'm going to say that, let's see, let's figure this out. What is he going to do to you? I mean, I think once again, it's going to be a level 3 harm.
Okay.
This time it's going to be called like horrible, wounded. What do I want to call this?
I mean,
wounded junk.
Yeah.
Wounded junk. Thank you.
Folded.
Junk wound.
Junk wound.
I get a level 3 junk wound. Fucking gnarly, dude.
Fucking gnarly, bro.
It was not cool. Skating is tough. Okay.
It's playing the cube. Got a fucking chode wound. Sucks, dude. All right, so he's coming at me, and
he's coming at you. You currently, I told you, your complication last time was that you are in a worse position. So fighting from where you are on your back is tougher, meaning like anything you do now is going to have a reduced effect.
May I? I'm just a simple country lawyer, but may I present this scene? I have fallen onto my back. Thump, oh God, no, here comes the blade. But I'm now on the floor near the pants and the belt and the gun belt of the cop who I pantsed earlier. Yes. I would like to, with my free hand, wrench his cop service revolver out and take a shot at him as the blade comes down.
Okay, so I'm going to, I love that. I'm going to make that a...
automatic success. Great idea, Jared.
Thanks, Jared. Pleasure doing business. Great stream, everyone.
Thanks for playing, Jared. That was a good idea. Automatic success. We agree. I'm going to make that a 0 stress flashback. We didn't realize this at the time, but you landed right on top of the cop's gun belt. I mean, that kind of brilliant, clever play needs to be rewarded. 0 stress flashback. Yes, you have the gun. And so now this is a desperate action because oh God, you have a fucking gun. It's risky. It's not limited. No, I'm sorry. It's risky, but it's a standard effect.
Can I just mention something real quick? Because I was reading up on this with this class. You can obviously still roll whatever you want, but there is some, it says in the book that you can roll skirmish when you're point blank with a gun, even though normally with a gun you would roll like a finesse or a hunt. You can roll skirmish when you're point blank, but it does usually have limited effect because it's such a weird situation. Well, not limited effect, but it's a desperate position, like you said. It's an not a great position. But you can still roll whatever you want. But
it's John Wick gun kata, so I'm
you're John Wick gun kata-ing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's skirmish gun.
Success means you don't take that horrible, so it's desperate because you'll take a horrible wound if you fail, and it is but I'm going to say that it is a standard effect because that's a brilliant little flashback and a brilliant little ploy. Okay. How'd it go?
Right, here we go. 2 dice.
Come on, man.
6. Oh my God.
Yes!
Woo!
Okay.
2 and a 6. Really thank the Lord.
A 6 is really good. You here's what's going to happen. I'm filling up Duel with Bear by 3 pies.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. And 3 of the 6 pies. And you are also going to say with that 6, blast the sword out of his hand. Okay. And that's why you've half beaten him now. That's great. Let's go back to someone we haven't talked to in a minute. Gethsemane and Stacks. What's your status? What's Stacks' status?
Lyle, man, it's like a totally different story happening for Lyle, because Lyle is he has an idea in his head, and he's going through with it. So like out of a John Woo movie, he slowly walks through the door as the gunshot kills the madam. He throws a lantern from his robe at the alcohol. It doesn't really do anything. Arouses the suspicion of the bartender. Throws electroplasm in his face. Gets some on him. Tunes himself to the now active ghost field that he can see through his fine spirit mask. And the little girl calls him outside, and he sees this carriage. Now, I don't know what's going on here, but I know it's not good for us. So what I would like to do is turn to the girl and be like,
a place like this is no area for a young lady. Those goats, get them far from here.
And I want to command the spirit of the girl to go frighten the goats so that the carriage will just fuck off.
Beautiful. Please go ahead and do that. And I got to tell you, that is such a clear plan that probably the people in the carriage are not expecting, that I will allow you to have that controlled, and it will have a standard effect, meaning they will be spooked.
Oh, I'll take 2 stress to push this.
Okay.
And because I have 1 point in command, so now I'll have 2 die. I had all this time. I should have thought of a cool flashback with me and the girl just talking like,
if I ever tell you to scare a goat, do it.
There will be goats in your afterlife will be filled with goats.
We should start thinking about a lot more zero stress flavor flashbacks.
You know what? Just because this is, I know this is bad for us. I would like to hear a devil's bargain.
Okay. You want a devil's bargain on this? Wow. Okay. So I said that if you succeed, the goats will be scared. But if you take the devil's bargain, if you take the devil's bargain, they'll be really, really, really scared. You'll have more effect than you perhaps wanted in a terrible way.
I'll take the devil's bargain.
Okay,
dude, you don't want an unhinged ram on your man.
Miles a weird dude. Those goats are whack. The
Stacks
wackier, the better.
Dude.
Come on, Stacks. Come on. Oh, if ever we needed a 6. 5.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's great. Remember when I rolled 1, 2, 3? 5 is great.
The little ghost girl, and only you can hear it because only you're attuned to the ghost field. It like starts like chanting an old rhyme from the Deathlands from like before the Cataclysm, where she's like, "There was a farmer who had a young daughter," and she hopscotches out to the rams, and she's kind of floating lightly because she's made of ectoplasm, and the Severosi can't see her, the one that's in the pilot's seat, and he looks down at you and is like, "Come here," and that's when the little girl looks at you, and her face is a skull again, and she pulls both of the ram's tails like really hard, and you see them go and they take off. Now, this is the effect you probably wanted, but I gave you a devil's bargain, and I said that they would be really, really scared in a bad way. And I got to tell you that the first thing you see them do is smash into some innocents in Night Market, and you see a hoof come down on a poor merchant's face, and you see the horn smash into another market stall, and a woman get gored by the goats as they just kind of go on a rampage through the crowd. People are screaming and getting like run down and smashed. I don't know how Gethsemane feels about guilt, but right now he has created a horrific scene. However, having detailed that, I will tell you one other thing that happens. There are a bunch of blue coats and some men in masks running down the street, and they are suddenly dealing with mad goats that are smashing apart this street. and hurting people. So you suddenly see all these people like opening fire on these goats as the Severosi is like, the Severosi's laying in the middle of the street behind them, like he was completely thrown off of his carriage by it. So what a horrific scene.
Horrific.
Yes. Why did I go there? Because I'm messed up, baby. Okay. Now we will go back to I think we'll go back to Fergus. Fergus, you said that was your last shot, and you are in a position to see what Gethsemane has just set off, but you might not have known it's him, or maybe it was part of the plan all along. I don't know. But what do you do next?
I'm thinking of doing a desperate action. So I think that he saw what went down with the missed shot. Now Bear seems to be out of his reach. He can't shoot again with these with the blue coats coming and the lights coming. And he thinks very strongly about ducking into the shadows and vanishing for the night. But then he knows for sure that that's it with the crew. He has to move on to another crew. And maybe he could do it, but he's like, he really wants the fucking bear. And he thinks there's still time. So what I want to do is leave my position, pack up, and then move with all haste down the side of this building, across the street, and into the hotel really fast. But he's an older dude. He is not fast. And so instead of just rolling prowl again, I think I'm going to do a desperate action and roll finesse. Because it's like he's got to do something that he's got to get down the side of a building and get across the street faster than his body allows him to at his age. Now that they're coming down upon them, the heat, and so
okay. So if you want to make, you said that you wanted to make it a desperate action. You didn't wait for me to say it's a desperate action. So now it's a desperate action, which means if he fails this roll, he's going to take harm, because you're describing sliding down the side of a building, and he's going to take, a level 3 harm called broken leg. That's what he's going to take. Right, and let's see. So it's desperate, so you get the XP for it. But let's say the effect will be, we're going to call it standard. He will get over there.
Okay.
He might get over there with a broken leg, but he'll get over there.
So all right. In that case, then, if it's going to be that bad, I am. So I said desperate because I have no pips in finesse, which is because he's just not.
Oh shit,
dude. So what I'll do, like, if that's the danger from this height that I see I'm coming down, I'm going to take 2 stress to push the roll and at least get 1 die out of it.
That's a good idea.
I was going to roll 2 and take the lesser and just deal with getting, hung up in the mess or not getting over there or whatever. But if harm is on the line, I will do my best to not take it. So he's going to, I think he's a little stressed. The heat's coming down on them earlier than expected because of his failed bargain. So here we go. 1 die to get across the street without a broken leg. He jumps on this thing, starts sliding down, and falls off the side of the building.
No!
I rolled a 3.
So you know that you can resist. You know that you can resist that harm. Right now, you're about to take a level 3 harm called broken leg, which I think will make you pretty much unable to walk. But you can resist that harm. Would you like to try to do that?
Oh.
What is when you say it's the effect of level 3 harm is need help? What does that mean? Like you can't do anything?
You're out of the score.
You're out of the score.
You're out of the score, which I think is fair. If you broke your leg, it would be tough for you to. I mean, I would still look. We always stick to the story. So if someone wandered into our friend Fergus's path and he could do something, I would still allow it.
Sure.
But I would say having a broken leg means you're unable to move and you're out of the score. So do you want to resist the harm?
No.
Oh, come on.
No, it wouldn't mean that. This fucking Fergus Blackburn is tough as nails. So he's going to fall, break his leg, and just grit his face and get up and walk in with a broken leg.
Yeah.
So he takes that as level 2 harm.
A level 2 harm.
His tough as nails special trick.
That's amazing.
That's fucking dope.
I just have to use that ability. It's too good. It's too good.
Wow.
Okay, so what's going to happen? That's beautiful.
He
So
just limps.
Gethsemane, you're watching the total chaos down the street where the law is dealing with these rampaging goats. When Fergus walks up, sweating and gritting his teeth quite a bit and limping a little bit.
Things are not going according to plan.
No, it's all falling apart, but they're coming down the street fast. We got to get it done and get out of here. Let's get Burr and fucking. I already took out the madam. So he's just like, "Meh," and he just storms in past, and he's just like now in the middle of this ruckus. He's looking for Bear. Like
Well,
if the last thing he can do
sees.
is take down Bear, he's gonna
And
try.
Lyle's right with him.
In the time that you guys stepped out and did the things with the carriage and whatnot, and the time you get back in, now the fire's really going. The whole lobby of the place is in flames. Also, you're still kind of attuned to the ghost field stacks, and as you look around, you see coming down through the flames the Tycherosi madam, and she's like. She's not alive. She's like, her spirit is like walking through the flames and like her teeth are like chattering like.
What's the matter with you? He looks over at Stax, who's just like, "This is happening."
Okay. So, wait, I'm getting an information about Tough as Nails. Level 2 penalties, but he still, what is this secret GM kidding? Takes level 3 hard harm. Okay, we'll look up Tough as Nails in a minute. That was too cool. I'm ruling that it works the way that we just said it works. If the chat is like, no, that's not the rule, then I'm sorry. GM Fiat, I'm over. What is it? Yes, Clint.
It's still cool. I'm just saying on the sheet, it's still a level 3 harm, but he only takes a level 2 penalty. So he was walking on a broken leg. It's still cool, but it's a level 3 harm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, it says penalties are reduced by 1 level.
I will say that for
I
a
see.
game that is sort of a kind of a narrative story game, there are so many little nuances in this game, which is why I think anybody who likes role-playing games will love it, even if you have like a crunchy power gamer type friend. So stuff like this comes into effect. Yes, it is a level 3 harm, but he takes the level 2 effects. He takes the level 2 effects. Okay, so everything happened as normal.
Well, you know, and
The chatter's so mean to me, Jared. I have to do this.
I know. Wow, how we can't let something cool happen. We have to follow the rules. Okay.
This is good though. I like getting the rules right when we can, and this, it does matter, I'm realizing, and the crunch is cool, and the reason is you can't just heal it as easy. So like, even though the effect is less, he's going to have to go through a long healing process with this, which makes sense because he's not a magic man. He still has a broken leg. He can just power through it during a score.
His toughness is allowing, I mean, it's significant to the character. His toughness is allowing him to do something that would take out a normal person. I mean, but you still have to heal it just like a level 3. It does make sense. And
it's cool. It's cool. I dig it.
You said I see the spirit of the madam coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
Can I do something?
Not yet.
Okay.
Meanwhile, upstairs, what happens now is I think that you've shot Bear, right? You've
You
knocked
said
the
it
sword
disarmed
out of
him
his
as well.
hand.
Yeah.
So here's what Bear's going to do now. He's like, he looks back at you and he smiles. His hand is kind of like still ringing and kind of bloody from your shot, and he goes, "Fuck it. You kill Goldie, I kill one of yours." And he steps over to your friend Archibald, and he lifts him up. And on the walls of the Arms of the Marchesa, there is like a stag skull with big, long, sharp antlers. And smiling at you, he lifts the tiny jockey's body over his head, and he's about to body slam him onto those antlers. Pretty Marko. The floor also seems kind of hot. What are you doing?
Okay, I have a special ability called Not to be Trifled With, where if I spend 2 stress, I may Perform a feat of physical force that verges on superhuman.
Go on.
I elect to do this now. I would like to, when I see this happen, charge Bear and tackle him with the force of a freight train linebacker in such a way that he drops Archie clear of the antlers. And I would like to rush him what makes this superhuman is I would like this force to propel us both out a window. And I would just like to burst out of the window of this thing and holding him, use him to break my fall as we crash to the ground below.
That's awesome. You can try it. It's going to be, let's see.
Hopefully Archie can move out of the way of the fire.
I think it'll have great effect. In fact, if it's successful, it'll fill up the rest of the duel with bear clock. Okay. I think that it is, however, still desperate, even though you're using taking this stress and using this super powerful thing, because here's what's going to happen. If you fail, or even if you get a complication, pretty Marko, you're not going to be quite fast enough. Yes, you're going to have the strength to push Bear out a window and use him as your landing gear, but you are not going to stop him from giving a final harm to Archibald Gray, the jockey. A final harm, antler through the heart.
Oof. Oh. Okay.
And I just want to say, that harm can still be resisted. Okay, so if right now Joe's thinking, I don't want that character to die, he can resist that harm using the Archibald sheet.
So weird you said that. I was thinking exactly that, Jared.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes, but that's the stakes I'm putting on it. Is Marko fast enough?
Great.
So here we go. What are you rolling?
Seems like the thing to roll is skirmish.
I'll allow it. Make sure you mark a desperate action XP for that attribute. Right. And how many dice are you rolling, my friend?
That's 2 dice.
Devil's bargain. I'll let you have another die for it if you agree to get hurt when you fall. You're going to take a level 2 harm when you fall, and you can have another die.
Level 2 harm.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it.
Okay.
All right. I'm reckless, baby. I'm a rather unstable. This seems like an unstable thing to do. So 3 dice.
3 dice. Here it goes.
4, 5, 6.
Yeah. There it goes. Pretty Marko. Don't fuck with Marko.
You smash into Bear with your massive strength, but Bear also has massive strength, and you realize you're not getting Archibald out of his hands, so you guys start doing this kind of like swinging each other kind of like in kind of an orbit, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of momentum does get him to drop Archibald, who goes slamming up against a sconce on the wall, falls to the ground. You swing toward the window, but you realize to your dismay, or perhaps it's all part of the plan, that he's not going through the window first, you are. And so your level 2 harm is called Shredded by Glass. And as you come out, you're still spinning in the air as you come out of the window of the arms of the Marchesa, and you spin down to the ground. And at the last moment, Bear is on the bottom, Marko's on top. You slam Bear into the ground. His back is shattered. He screams. Blood wells up out of his mouth. Pretty Marko.
It's like, and I hold him by the face. Like, that's the difference between you and me, boyo. When I get you, you see my face when it happens, you backstabbing prick.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to go back to your compatriots. Yes, the ghost of the madam is coming down the stairs, and our friend Stax had something in mind for her, because I can tell you that as she reaches the bottom and the flames are going up everywhere, she sort of like goes like this with her nails, and her nails start to grow toward you, Stax, like just like pure lines of lacquered, like sharp, like needles are like stretching toward you. And by the way, Blackburn, you can't even see it. You just see Stax suddenly. I don't know how Stax reacts, but
Can't see
Stax will
behind
tell
that
us now.
blindfold.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a flashback to 2 days earlier or a day earlier or whatever. Lyle walks in to the establishment without the mask on and orders a night with one of the Taikarosi workers there. And he gets up into the room with this young woman. Maybe she starts to undress, and he's like,
No, that is not what I am interested in. Your madam, tell me what she covets most in this world.
Coin.
Coin.
She is not one for luxury. She pinches pennies. She just likes to hoard money. Are you sure you don't want a massage?
No, do not touch me. And he just lays money out and walks out.
And so as he sees this ghost coming down, he kind of puts a hand back across Frost's chest. And then with his left hand, he reaches into his robe and pulls out this crystalline jar about the size of a loaf of bread. And he says to the spirit, he says,
Your coin is all gone. You cannot spend it where you're going.
it's a spirit bottle, and he's going to try and entrap her in it.
Good idea.
Amazing.
Because if the spirit wardens are coming, this is a spirit that they would interview. Let's put it that way. So, what action are you going to roll?
I think it's going to be a tune.
Oh,
and
by the way, take one stress for that. For that flashback. And a tune roll. I'm going to say that you are in a controlled situation now because you did that flashback. So she can't. You know that she can't harm you. You figured out what the thing that controls her. And if I may, Troy, I think that inside that spirit bottle you've placed a single jangling coin.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
And so controlled. Standard effect, you will trap her if you succeed.
Okay. And do I get a bonus die for the flashback, or is that affecting the effect instead?
You know what?
Can't remember what you
No, you're a whisper. You probably have a pretty good attune. I'm not giving you an extra die. Yeah. I'm saying it's helping your effect.
Fergus, you got anything for me?
I was just looking. I was trying to think. It ends up just being like a desperate action. But okay, so desperate act. I think I'm using the term wrong. It's like just because I'm using an action that I don't have any pips in doesn't mean it's desperate. It's really the whole situation and the consequences. So
right. That just means an untrained action.
Yeah. So how about seeing him stop, getting to know Stax a little bit better beforehand, knowing what his abilities are. When he holds up his hand and to stop at nothing, there's just nothing there. And his first instinct is like, what are you doing? We got to get upstairs right there. But he's like, oh, wait a minute. Stax sees something. And I'm going to try to attune as well to aid him in this. I have to roll 2 and take the lower. So there's very little chance I'll help. But if I happen to help, then maybe he could get an extra die on it.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like maybe our friend Stax is leading a group action in that case, if you're also rolling. So you can make your action roll. and you guys will count the single best result. However, stacks for everybody that gets a 1 to a 3 will take 1 stress. Does that sound fair?
Okay. Or you could just eat a stress Joe and give me the die.
Yep. Or you can.
Oh,
just eat a
that's
stress
right.
and
That's
give me
right. I'm
the die.
sorry. I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. I'll do that. Sure.
Like
Let's just
we
do
were-
that.
Like, say, what's your jam hunting? Like, if I had something in hunt and we were both hunting, it would be better to do that group action. But in this sense, I just need you to eat some stress. Like,
Yeah, so
bad-
I'll just try to do it, and you know what I mean. Regardless of what I see, it's stressing me out because now I know I can't see what's coming at us, but something is coming at us, so it's stressful for me.
Jingle the change in your pocket.
Here we go. 5.
Nice.
Success with a consequence. The consequence. What should the consequence
Can't
be?
roll a 6.
The consequence is Frost's mind explodes. He
Okay.
drops to the floor.
This is an important action, and maybe Stax understands this because Stax knows the spirit wardens are coming and that they're an important part of getting away with something if you kill somebody, which you guys have done. So you do capture the ghost. However, our final rolls are going to be to get away from here without like being spotted or having our heat go up or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could choose something else. Perhaps you're trying to save this building, because I'm going to tell you that right now this building is going to burn down. Okay. Do you want to keep this? You already have Vice Den tin whistles. Do you need 2, or is it like if we can't have it, no one can? This is all up to you. But right now I'm going to tell you that
Archie's
like
upstairs, right?
What's that?
Archie's still in the building, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he is. So your rolls are for both. No. Let's just make it for actually Stacks. Sorry, not Fergus. You have reduced effect because you were having to use a lot of your attention and your kind of like your soul power to kind of keep her contained. She is like a tempest in a teapot inside of this bottle, and it's taking a little bit of your attention. So your next action is going to have reduced effect. So now I turn to everybody, and these will be. I think that these are going to honestly. I think we need to start wrapping up. I don't want to give it like a false ending, but I also think that like, well,
I can do that. I can help you.
I also want to roll to see how close the cops are, like how they've dealt with the goat thing. So I'm going to make a fortune roll for that.
You got to cheese it.
Yeah, and let's say a fortune roll says the blue coats are they're tier 2, right? And then the spirit wardens are tier 4. So I'm going to roll 4 for the spirit wardens to see how close they are, and I've made a clock, which means we already did the law arrives. Oh, we only have 2 pies to fill in.
Lovely.
Okay, good news. The blue coats aren't here yet. Now let me roll for the spirit wardens. They're here. What do? I'm not going to tell you why or how. We'll see that in a minute. Go ahead, Blackburn.
I have an idea for a flashback. We're all sitting around the table. We've got the charts out. We're looking at maybe the blueprints of this building. We're talking over the job. And there's one final detail. Everything that we've said so far has happened. Obviously not the Rams, all this nonsense, but the taking out of the madam was going to be clutch to this whole thing. And obviously Bear. But there was one other wrinkle that we had to add because inevitably the law was going to come down on us. And Blackburn knew this. He knows their response times, especially when there's gunshots and especially when there's death for the spirit wardens or the blue coats. So here's the idea. The plan all along was we need to meld into the crowd. And when they get there, they have to think this is already our place. And that's when the camera turns around that table, and sitting in a spot next to us is that female bodyguard from our cat house.
Yeah.
And she knows that once we have gotten a handle on Bear and the madam, she is to walk into the joint and tell them this place is under new management, basically, to like the workers, because they know her. and say,
Good work.
no speaking to the authorities. We're going to take care of this. I'm going to take care of you. And the plan, and we all knew this ahead of time, is when the cops get there, we pin the whole invasion and the fire and everything on Bear, that he was doing it, and Marko killed him as part of defending our place.
Oh, and I'll just slide the jar in Bear's dead hands with the Madam's spirit.
Yeah, and Bear just killed her. Like Bear shot her. Like, you know what I mean? Because they can't see who shot her. So I don't know. It's a flashback.
Level 3. Oh no, not level 3. 3 stress. Is it 2 stress the most from a flashback? Sorry, 2.
I think it's all 2+. I think you can always add more, I think. But
No, just 2. 3 would be crazy for this. 2. Because that's not, you're not like,
it's really not that crazy.
A magical
Yeah,
item
you think
or
about
something.
it.
You're
Great.
just saying it's not that crazy, but I do think it's multifaceted. It's got multiple parts, and that's why I'm calling for 2 stress. And now I want to call one final scene, which is like, you won't believe it. He like you're explaining to a different man in a mask than the one that you saw last time, and this one's mask is a kind of like feline, and maybe the form under it is vaguely female, and they're kind of watching you. Of course, they have someone behind them that's like holding like a huge shadowy crow on like a big thick leather glove, and who is speaking to them? The Severosi bodyguard or one of you?
The Severosi bodyguard, because she actually has, they could question her. She knows, she did not do anything in here. She's just from the other cat house, and she runs this place too. And it wouldn't be that hard for her to lie about that.
She's tier 1.
She knows the sex workers. She knows their names. She knows, you know what I mean? Like she could.
That's why I'm going to give her 2 dice.
Okay.
Because your flashback, actually. Yeah, that's why I'm giving her 2 dice. Okay. She's tier 1. So that's how good she is at doing stuff like that. I mean, look, if she was if you were telling her right now to bust some heads, I'd be like, she gets more die. But you're telling her to tell the spirit wardens a kind of involved story. So she's got 2
about
dice.
This invasion of Bear and he trying to take over the place.
I'll take a stress to assist her, like I coached her in how to talk to these type of people.
That's allowed.
Right.
Stax is kind of like,
these are my people.
Her behind her back. And she is like, the Foghounds, they've been looking at our operation for a long time. I guess they finally decided to strike. Look, he captured my dear friend Watomi's spirit in a bottle beforehand. He probably had one of his sailors shoot her through the head. I'm so glad you're here. Thank God.
I can hear the dice tinkle like it's killing me.
5. Good thing you got that extra die. 6.
10 whistles, baby!
Two.
Oh
the
my
spirit warden
God.
takes the bottle from you, though. We'll be confiscating this. Thank you.
Oh, what a creep.
And they head off into the night as Blue Coats and Fire Brigade come. And now you are looking at your new, the second half of your Vice Den, your Vice operation. Charred walls, bullet holes riddling the upstairs.
Oh, and I just want to say real quick that Bear, Frost, gets the blue, hobbles over to the Blue Coats, and he just gives them an out. He's like, get the buck. Because the Blue Coats that are coming are going to know that these guys are all corrupt and stuff. So he tries to make nice with them by giving them an out the back alley, so that they can not be there when the Blue Coats show up, and then maybe they'll come back and help us again. Now this is our joint.
Barry and Clort on the way out looks at Blackburn and is like, let me know when you have some action going on. And he walks out the back with the rest of them. They're just another criminal gang, these guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to set one final scene. You're in the penthouse, the most luxurious part of the building. It wasn't touched by the fire, actually. Thank God that fire didn't have the greatest of effects. Although your lobby is destroyed. No one's staying here for a little while, guys. But maybe really guys that have a real weird vice will come in and
That's
chance
fine.
this place.
That's
But
fine.
you do have the place. You have it. It's yours now. And you are in. There's a box full of fresh cigars in here. There's a little bowl full of trance dust. And what are these weird Tycherosi artifacts sort of hanging from this kind of weird little casket? It looks like the casket of a cat or something like that. Anyway, I'm just trying to put something weird in there that our friend could enjoy. Stacks.
Yes.
But as you're all sitting there,
Like
maybe enjoying the fruits of your labor, you look down at the floor and see, just the sprayed brains of the madam, and you think, well, tell me what you think. Tell me what your final your word is tonight.
Gonna have to smuggle some new rugs into the place.
Jared, can I roll a dice, and if I get a 6, I get to choose where the scarification from my glass wound is, and if I get lower than that, you get to choose?
Yes. The answer is yes.
All right, where is Pretty Marko wrecked?
Oh no!
I mean, Ross, you gave me the opportunity, so I
It
have
has
to
to be.
do it to you. Pretty
It's
Marko
inevitable.
now has a big scar across his face.
Oh, from the window.
Saving Archibald
Ripping-
cost him his face.
Oh,
Hey, I'll find a way to wear it well. and you see him just like turn around. There's like tears in his eyes. It's like, I think it gives me character.
And now I want to. Oh, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was
I'm
going to
sorry.
say, Lyle dangles with the cat bobbles, and then he goes to the door and stands at the stairs, and he says,
Gentlemen, it appears some customers have arrived. Welcome.
and you go out there and look, and you don't see anybody.
Meanwhile,
weird.
across town in Barrow Cleft, a gondolier is in a hidden grotto. And in the eaves and the columns of this ancient catacomb interior, there is a ship, the Foghound, docked. Fergus Blackburn would know the ladies and gentlemen who are sitting on the ship with their arms crossed, feet kicked up, watching this gondolier who puts a bunch of the coin that he was handed in front of them and places the letter in front of them. And they read, "A call from Bear. My friends, I have returned. And the thing that is dearest to my heart is my ship, the Foghound. If ever you had any loyalty to me, you will betray these imposters, these traitors, the Tin Whistles, and you will head out. You will set sail, and I will meet you on the isle where we did our business and made much coin. Set sea, gentlemen. This coin is just the beginning of our enterprise together again." And they look at each other and they count the coin. And is this the beginning of the new Foghounds gang? And are they going to steal your ship away? We'll find out next time.
Well done, Jared.
Yeah.
Yes, that was so. Guys, that
ruled.
was hot. HAWT.
Oh,
That
fun.
was so great.
What a game. What a
Damn.
game.
What a game. God.
Oh,
Moment to moment, just no idea what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
it's amazing.
So desperate. And it's a totally new crew.
Yeah.
it's a new crew. I think Archie's back in it. We should have mentioned
Yeah, I would-
that Archie was
Made
saved.
good his escape.
Yeah. I was going to just have like Frost walk over to him and just like pick him up, just like cut his bonds, just be like, on your feet. And that's it. And then who knows? Like when we come back, like I would assume I'm playing Archie because I really assume that Frost he'll need medical attention for weeks and weeks. You know what I mean? Like a couple months at this stage with a broken leg. So it's so interesting the way it all.
We're looking at
flows.
the
really
Mortal
cool.
Kombat choose your character for the Tin Whistles. Frost is unlocked. Archery is unlocked again.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
And that means that Marko Coyle, who I think is quite hurt, I want you guys to know that you are, in fact, this is an option for you. As our friends from GCN here have pointed out, you can kind of shuffle people in and out, use the ones that make sense for certain jobs. I'm going to allow that. The other thing I'm going to start doing going forward, and this is up for some discussion, but because I'm springing on you now, is I really like, reading over the book again, how free play can kind of lead into scores and then into downtime sometimes. So instead of making next session necessarily downtime, there will be some free play and some downtime, both. And that's another reason to be able to choose characters, because if it looks like there's going to be a little more free play and your guy's really hurt, I mean, like Archie went in, he was reckless. It's part of his reputation, but I don't know how much stress or whatever he had when he just waltzed into the arms of the Marchesa. So next time you might go, I'm going to pull out my guy who has a little less stress or harm and have him do something like that. I mean, it all made sense the way we did it, but it's just another option open to you. Thank you guys. That was amazing.
Whew.
So fun.
Great
Thank you,
job.
Jared. And thanks everybody for
Great job,
watching.
Joe. Great job,
So
Troy.
awesome.
Man, oh, man.
You too, Russ. It was
Whew.
freaking great.
So
all
fun.
of it.
Watch the
Yes.
Glass Cannon Network. Watch everything they do. They are amazing. I'm going to say goodbye to my players for right now. You can see Ross Bryant tomorrow. Oh, there we go. Tomorrow morning on Vampires of Pittsburgh Lockdown. Guys, I love you. Good night. And we'll see you very soon.
Take it easy.
I'll see you next month, Ron.
Okay, so that was another episode of the Tin Whistles, and it was exciting. I liked it. Guys, I'm going to do a little end of show business. If someone has a comment, question, you can throw it our way. Me and Secret GM Clinton Trucks will do our best to answer or respond. But here's our end of show business. Blood and Blades will be back next week with our favorite crew of activists and shadows, the Kinohora. So in 1 week, 6 p.m. Pacific, please check out the Kinohora. They are Scovelanders who are sort of revolutionaries. And right now they're involved in, an existential peril. There's a demon rising, and they're the only ones that know about it, apparently. It's intense. Vampires of Pittsburgh is back for blood at 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. Last week, Ashley Birch, Ross, Bryant, and Abubakar Salim spent XP and powered up their coterie. Will it save them from the lockdown? So yeah, we had a bit of a breather session last time, but that's all damn over. Back into the fray for vampires. Tuesdays, we're keeping it old school with more BX Dungeons & Dragons. That is old school 1981 style Dungeons & Dragons. Swing by at 7 p.m. Pacific to watch the meteoric ascent of the unstoppable and unkillable. You can tell Clint wrote this because this is his character, Boopel von Borplesby, as he wanders unscathed through the worst that the 1980s has to offer. We have a fun cast for that as well, and that game has been so much fun. So if you ever wanted to see old school Dungeons & Dragons be played, we're actually playing Old School Essentials by Gavin Norman, which is a OSR retro clone rules set, and it's very different from modern Dungeons & Dragons, and it's very fun. So please check that out. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Thursdays on the Stereo app is Campaign Promises, our chat show where Secret Game Master Clinton Trucks and myself talk about all things RPG. We take your on-air comments and questions and challenge each other to create our dream tabletop campaigns. Download the app. It's called Stereo. You can find it in the App Store. Listen in at 4 p.m. Pacific on Thursdays. And then later that night at 7 p.m. Pacific, you're not going to want to miss our latest subscriber event where we ask you, the subscribers, to help us design the setting for a new miniature campaign in the world of Vampires of Pittsburgh. It's Never Sunny in Philadelphia. We are going to create with the subscribers the Philadelphia location for our Vampires of Pittsburgh campaign. All of the factions there, the Camarilla, the Anarchs, what clans are the various vampires, who represents them, what sort of elements are in the city. Please be here and tune in for that, because that is going to be really exciting and interesting. And then finally, Saturday, we play Blood and Blades again. Next time it's the Kinohora. Stream of Blood is also a podcast. Find it on the podcatcher of your choice. Rate, review, subscribe, and download to let people know what we're doing. You can catch up with old episodes of Vampires of Pittsburgh on that podcast. Blades in the Dark is by John Harper and Evil Hat Games. Original music for today's show was provided by Axel Kazis Taylor, and we had some art by the amazing Will Pottorff, Pottorff. Please check him out on Instagram or on willpottorff.com. Guys, the best way. Oh, here we go. I'll answer this first. Ever check in on the Dungeon Crawl Classics? They're modern written adventures for OSR games, and the art and maps are rad as hell. Fancy, I love Dungeon Crawl Classics. I really, really do, and I've played a bit of it myself. And we struggled when we were deciding to play Thaco Tuesdays over which system to use. And we really thought strongly about using Dungeon Crawl Classics. We decided to go with Old School Essentials because it's a little simpler, just a little bit. And it really is a one-for-one clone of old D&D. And we wanted to play that. But I'm not promising that all Thaco Tuesdays episodes will use the same rules set. When we get into a different storyline, maybe we'll pull out the Dungeon Crawl Classics. There are a lot of retro clones, Labyrinth Lord, Mazes and Monsters, all kinds of them. Knave, which is a game by Ben Milton, who I'm a huge fan of. He runs a YouTube channel called Quest and Beast. So if the opportunity presents itself and we think it's the right time, we may pull out our Dungeon Crawl Classics for Thaco Tuesdays as opposed to Old School Essentials. Okay. You can go ahead and, if there are any other questions. Yeah. What's a story beat in a role-playing game? I don't understand this question. Clinton Trucks, hop in here for a second.
I think you mentioned a story beat offhandedly. It's a term that we probably use amongst ourselves because we talk about structure and scripts in our daytime lives. So I thought you might have a thought about how you're thinking about story in scripting as opposed to you're thinking about story in running a game, which is much more improvisatory. Connected.
A story beat is okay. So I think I get that. I mean, a story beat is just a pretentious writer way of saying a plot
thing
point
that happens.
Or a thing that happens. Yeah, but it's called a beat sometimes because in dialogue, sometimes you'll see written to a script beat, and it means people kind of. It's not quite a pause. It's not like people are quiet, but it's kind of like you let something hit. And a story beat is called. It's the moment of recognition. So a story beat is sometimes called a story beat because it's not a little detail. It's not a piece of dialogue. It's not some detail or stage direction that flashes by. It's something that kind of lands and has an impact on the plot.
The audience needs it because it will come back.
It will come back, yes. And everything in our games comes back. Okay, thank you, Clinton Trucks. Guys, what's it going to take to get some Will Pottorff art on that big blank wall behind you, Jared? Guys, don't ask me about my decoration. Look, it's a whole thing. This is my guest room. I can't. My wife doesn't want me to put, believe it or not, my wife doesn't want me to put bleeding, headless demons on the wall of our guest room where guests sometimes stay. But, okay, anything else? Way I'm dressed fancy? Do you have any comment? Maybe a different haircut? Is there anything else that would make you happier? Some facial hair? Is there anything else I can do for you? Yeah, you guys never stop. All right. The best way to support the work we do here is to subscribe on Twitch and to spread the word. Tell people what we're up to. Subscribe and comment on our YouTube channel. We're on Instagram and Twitter as Stream of Blood, and on Reddit is r/Stream of Blood. The best way to connect with us and other SOBs is on our Discord, Stream of Blood Server of Blood. This is where you can be a part of our Blood and Blades faction turns. It's where you can, oh my gosh, I'm getting blurry all of a sudden. I think I and the camera are just tired. The best way to connect with us, I already said that. Yes, the Server of Blood. That is where people like Fancy can talk with me and ask more questions, have a discussion. That's where we're talking to all of our subscribers and just people that want to come and hang out about tabletop role-playing games and, more importantly, heavy metal. So come and check out our server of blood anytime you can. I want to thank I can't believe how is this happening? What's happening to me? There we go. I fixed it. I want to thank my producers and partners, Brian Baldinger and Clinton Trucks, our social media manager, Megan Arch. Thank you, Megan. Our YouTube content producer, new GM Toolbox every Thursday now, Matt Moynihan. Thank you, Matt Moynihan. A Stream of Blood logo was created by Garrett Ross. Thank you, Garrett. And thank you, Andrew Orvidal, for our opening animation. And thank you, the viewers. Fancy, sorry, I got sort of self-conscious about my wall. It's an ongoing argument. But I love you, and I'm happy that you're here, and we're happy that all of our viewers are here. You guys are the absolute best, and we will see you very soon on the next episode of Stream of Blood. Goodbye. Mwah. See ya.